I caught them in my own wedding gown 1 week before my wedding. But instead of calling it off, I smiled and told her she's still my chief bridesmaid. What I did on that wedding day? She couldn't withstand the outcome. My name is Jennifer, and I'm 31 years old. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and what I'm about to tell you is the craziest, most painful, and most satisfying thing I've ever done in my life. Some people called me savage. Others called me a genius. But honestly, I just called it justice. Before I dive into this story, I need you to do something for me. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now. And please, hit that like button and subscribe. I promise you, this story is going to take you on a ride you won't forget. And I need to know I'm not alone in this. All right, let me take you back to August 2023. I was engaged to a man named Marcus. We'd been together for 4 years. He proposed on a beach in the Bahamas with a ring that cost more than my car. It was perfect. He was perfect. Or so I thought. Marcus was everything I wanted. Successful, charming, tall, good-looking. He worked in finance, made great money, treated me like a queen. My family loved him. My friends adored him. Everyone said we were the perfect couple. And my best friend? Her name was Tasha. We'd been best friends since college. 10 years of friendship. She was the first person I called when Marcus proposed. She screamed so loud on the phone I had to pull it away from my ear. She cried happy tears. She hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. She said, "Girl, you're about to be the most beautiful bride ever. I'm so happy for you." And I believed her. I made her my maid of honor. Actually, we called it chief bridesmaid because that's what she wanted. She helped me pick out my dress. She threw my bridal shower. She was with me for every dress fitting, every cake tasting, every detail. She was my ride or die, my sister, the person I trusted most in the world after Marcus. Our wedding was set for September 16th, a Saturday. We'd booked this gorgeous venue outside the city, a vineyard with rolling hills and string lights everywhere, 500 guests, a live band, an open bar. It was going to be the wedding of the year. 1 week before the wedding, I was stressed out of my mind. You know how it is. Last-minute details, confirming vendors, dealing with family drama. My mom was fighting with Marcus's mom about seating arrangements. My cousin wanted to bring her new boyfriend who nobody liked. It was chaos. So I decided to go to Marcus's apartment to just relax. He'd given me a key months ago. I figured I'd surprise him. Maybe order some takeout, watch a movie, and just breathe for a second. It was a Thursday night. Around 9 p.m., I pulled up to his building, grabbed my purse, and headed upstairs. I used my key to unlock the door. The lights were dim. I heard music playing softly from the bedroom. I smiled. I thought maybe he was setting up something romantic for me. I walked down the hallway toward his bedroom. The door was cracked open. I pushed it gently. And that's when I saw them. Tasha, my best friend, in my wedding dress, and Marcus, my fiancé, kissing her. I stood there frozen. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. She was wearing my wedding dress, the one I'd spent months picking out, the one that cost $4,000, the one that was supposed to be hanging in my closet at home. But she was wearing it, and he was unzipping it. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there in the doorway watching them, feeling my entire world collapse. And then Tasha saw me. Her face went white. She jumped back. Marcus turned around, and when he saw me, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Jen," he started. I held up my hand. "Don't." My voice was calm, too calm. Like I was watching this happen to someone else. Tasha started crying immediately. "Oh my God, Jen, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This isn't what it looks like." I laughed. I actually laughed. Because what else do you do when your best friend is standing in your wedding dress in your fiancé's bedroom? "It's not what it looks like?" I repeated slowly. "You're in my wedding dress. In his bedroom. With his hands on you. What exactly is it supposed to look like, Tasha?" She couldn't answer. She just stood there, tears running down her face, ruining the makeup she'd probably put on for him. Marcus stepped forward. "Jen, baby, listen to me. This was a mistake. A huge mistake. It didn't mean anything. I swear to God." "How long?" I asked. He stopped. "What?" How long has this been going on? He looked at Tasha. She looked at the floor. How long? I said again, my voice harder this time. Tasha whispered, 3 months. 3 months. 3 months of planning my wedding with her. 3 months of her smiling in my face. 3 months of her helping me pick out flowers and trying on bridesmaid dresses and laughing with me about how perfect my life was about to be. And the whole time, she was sleeping with my fiancé. I looked at Marcus. And you? He ran his hand over his face. Jen, I'm sorry. I don't know how it happened. It just happened. But I love you. I want to marry you. This doesn't change anything. Get out, I said to Tasha. She looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen. Jen, please, get out. She grabbed her clothes and ran past me, still wearing my dress. I heard the front door slam. Marcus tried to touch me. I stepped back. Don't touch me, I said quietly. Jen, please. We can fix this. We can go to therapy. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me, please. I looked at him. This man I thought I knew. This man I was supposed to marry in 7 days. And then I said something that shocked even me. I'm not leaving you. He blinked. What? The wedding is still happening, I said. Nothing changes. Jen, what are you? Tasha is still my maid of honor. You're still my groom. The wedding is still on. September 16th, just like we planned. He looked confused. I don't understand. I smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that should have warned him. You will, I said. And then I walked out. The next morning, I woke up with a strange calmness. You know that feeling when you've cried so much that there are no tears left? That's where I was. Empty, but also clear. I sat up in bed and stared at my phone. Tasha had called me 17 times, sent me 43 text messages, all of them begging, apologizing, crying through her words. Jen, please pick up. I'm so sorry. I hate myself. Please don't hate me. I'll do anything. It was a mistake. A terrible mistake. Marcus had called too. 12 times. His messages were different, though. Baby, we need to talk. I love you. Please believe me. Let's fix this, together. I deleted none of them. I read every single one, and then I put my phone down and got out of bed. I had 6 days until my wedding. 6 days to execute the plan that had formed in my mind the moment I walked out of Marcus's apartment. People think revenge is about anger, about screaming and breaking things and making a scene. But real revenge? Real revenge is quiet. It's calculated. It's patient. And I was about to show them exactly what that looked like. I got dressed, did my makeup, and drove to Tasha's apartment. She lived 20 minutes away in a small, 1-bedroom she'd been renting since college. I knew she'd be home. She worked from home on Fridays. I knocked on her door. She opened it, and when she saw me, she burst into tears. Her eyes were swollen. Her hair was a mess. She looked like she hadn't slept at all. Jen, she started, her voice breaking. I walked past her into the apartment and sat down on her couch. She stood there, frozen, staring at me like she was seeing a ghost. Close the door, Tasha, I said calmly. She did. Slowly. Then she walked over and sat on the chair across from me, her hands shaking. Jen, I'm so sorry, she whispered. I don't even know how to... Save it, I said, cutting her off. My voice was steady, cold. I didn't come here for an apology. She looked confused. Then, why are you here? I leaned forward, my elbows on my knees, looking her straight in the eyes. The wedding is still happening. Her face went pale. What? September 16th. Everything goes as planned. You're still my chief bridesmaid. Marcus is still my groom. Nothing changes. She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Jen, you can't be serious. After what you saw? I'm very serious. But why? Why would you still marry him after... Because I want to, I said simply. And you're going to help me. She stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had, or maybe I'd finally found it. Jen, I can't be your bridesmaid. Not after what I did. It's not right. I'll step down. I'll disappear. I won't come to the wedding. Just please. You'll be there, I said firmly. You'll stand beside me. You'll smile for the pictures. You'll give your speech. You'll do everything a maid of honor is supposed to do. Why? She whispered, her voice breaking. Why are you doing this? I stood up and walked toward the door. Before I left, I turned back and looked at her one more time. Because you owe me, I said. And by the end of that wedding, you'll wish you'd never met Marcus. Or me. And then I walked out, leaving her sitting there in shock. Next, I drove to Marcus's office. He worked downtown in one of those fancy, high-rise buildings with glass, elevators, and expensive coffee in the lobby. I'd been there 100 times. His coworkers knew me. His boss had congratulated us on the engagement. I walked in like I owned the place. The receptionist smiled when she saw me. Hey, Jen! Here to see Marcus? Yep, I said, smiling back. Is he in? He's in a meeting, but it should be wrapping up soon. You can wait in his office if you want. Perfect, thanks. I took the elevator to the 15th floor and walked into his office. It smelled like his cologne. There were pictures of us on his desk. One from our trip to Mexico. Another from his sister's wedding. We looked so happy. I sat down in his chair and waited. 10 minutes later, he walked in. When he saw me sitting there, he stopped in the doorway. Jen, he said, his voice cautious. You're here. I'm here, I said. He closed the door behind him and walked over slowly, like he was approaching a wild animal. Baby, I'm so glad you came. I've been going crazy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Sit down, Marcus, I said. He sat down across from me, leaning forward, his hands clasped together like he was praying. Jen, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but I swear to God it didn't mean anything. Tasha. She doesn't mean anything to me. You're the one I love. You're the one I want to marry. Please, baby. Please forgive me. I let him talk. I let him beg. I let him cry. And then I spoke. The wedding is still on. He stopped mid-sentence, his mouth hanging open. What? September 16th. We're getting married. Just like we planned. He blinked. You still want to marry me? I do, I said. Relief washed over his face. He reached for my hands, but I pulled them back. But there are conditions, I said. Anything, he said quickly. Anything you want. I'll do anything. First, you don't touch me. Not until the wedding day. No kissing. No hugging, nothing. He nodded. Okay, I understand. Second, you don't contact Tasha at all. No calls, no texts, nothing. Done, he said. I swear. I'll block her right now. Third, I said, leaning forward, you act like everything is perfect. You smile. You laugh. You play the happy groom, because if anyone finds out what you did, the deal is off. I promise, he said, his voice desperate. I'll do whatever you say. Just please, don't leave me. I stood up and walked to the door. You should have thought about that before you slept with my best friend, I said. And then I left. The next 6 days were the longest of my life. But they were also the most satisfying. Because every single moment, I was preparing, planning, perfecting. I went to all my final vendor meetings. I confirmed the flowers, the cake, the music. I smiled, I laughed. I played the excited bride. Tasha showed up to the final bridesmaid fitting, her eyes red and puffy. She couldn't even look at me. The other bridesmaids thought she was just emotional about the wedding. Marcus played his part too. He came to the rehearsal dinner. He gave a speech about how much he loved me, how lucky he was, how he couldn't wait to spend the rest of his life with me. Everyone clapped. Everyone smiled. Everyone thought we were the perfect couple. But I knew the truth. And soon, everyone else would too. The night before the wedding, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was nervous. Not because I was sad, but because I was ready. I lay in bed at my parents'. House and tradition said the bride shouldn't see the groom the night before the wedding, and I went over the plan one more time in my head. Everything was in place. Every detail. Every moment. Every word. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was a text from Tasha. Jen, I can't do this. I can't stand up there tomorrow and pretend. Please, let me step down. I'm begging you. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I typed back, "You'll be there. 10 a.m. hair and makeup with the other bridesmaids. Don't be late." She didn't respond. I turned off my phone and closed my eyes. Tomorrow was going to be a day no one would ever forget. The morning of September 16th came fast. I woke up at 6 a.m. to my mom knocking on my door with a tray of breakfast and a huge smile on her face. "Good morning, my beautiful bride," she sang, setting the tray down on my bed. I sat up and smiled. "Good morning, Mama." She sat down beside me, tears already forming in her eyes. "I can't believe my baby is getting married today. You look so calm, so peaceful. I was a nervous wreck on my wedding day." "I'm ready," I said. And I meant it. She kissed my forehead. "Your father and I are so proud of you. Marcus is a good man. You two are going to have a beautiful life together." I nodded and ate my breakfast while she talked about the weather, the venue, how beautiful everything was going to be. At 10 a.m., the bridesmaids started arriving at the bridal suite. It was this huge room at the vineyard with floor-to-ceiling windows, white couches, champagne on ice, and a whole team of hair and makeup artists. My cousin Brianna came in first, squealing and hugging me. Then my college roommate Ashley, then Marcus's sister, who I actually really liked. And finally Tasha. She walked in last, her face pale, her hands gripping her purse like it was the only thing holding her together. "Hey, Tasha," I said brightly, walking over to hug her. She stiffened in my arms. "Hey," she whispered. The other bridesmaids didn't notice anything weird. They were too busy popping champagne and taking selfies. "Come on, ladies," the makeup artist called. "Let's get started. We have a bride to make beautiful." For the next 3 hours, it was chaos. Hair curlers, makeup brushes, champagne glasses clinking, music playing. Everyone laughing and talking and taking pictures. Tasha sat in the corner the entire time, barely speaking. Every time someone asked her if she was okay, she forced a smile and said she was just emotional. When it was time for me to put on my dress, my mom and the bridesmaids helped me. It was the same dress Tasha had worn in Marcus's apartment, the same one she'd ruined. But I'd had it cleaned and pressed, and it looked perfect. I stood in front of the mirror, and for a moment I didn't recognize myself. I looked beautiful, like a princess, like the happiest woman in the world. My mom started crying. Ashley started crying. Even Marcus's sister teared up. "You're stunning," my mom whispered, holding my hands. "Thank you, Mama," I said softly. And then I looked over at Tasha. She was standing in the corner, staring at me, tears streaming down her face. Our eyes met. She looked away. At 3 p.m., it was time. The ceremony was about to start. The bridesmaids lined up in the hallway, holding their bouquets, adjusting their dresses. Tasha was at the front of the line because she was the maid of honor. She was supposed to walk down the aisle right before me. I walked up behind her and put my hand on her shoulder. She flinched. "You okay?" I asked sweetly. She turned around, her eyes red. "Jen, please. I'm begging you. Don't make me do this. I can't." "You can," I said, my voice firm. "And you will." The wedding coordinator poked her head in. "Ladies, we're ready. Let's go!" The music started. One by one, the bridesmaids walked down the aisle. My cousin, my roommate, Marcus's sister. And then it was Tasha's turn. She looked at me one last time, her face pale, her hands shaking. "Go," I said. She took a deep breath and walked through the doors. I watched her walk down that aisle, past all 500 guests, past my family, past Marcus's family, and take her place at the front. And then it was my turn. The doors opened. The music swelled. Everyone stood up. My father was waiting for me, his arm outstretched, tears in his eyes. "You ready, sweetheart?" he whispered. "I'm ready," I said. We walked down the aisle together. I saw Marcus standing at the altar in his black tuxedo, looking handsome, looking nervous, looking like the man I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. I saw Tasha standing beside the altar, her head down, her hands gripping her bouquet so tight her knuckles were white. I saw all 500 guests smiling, crying, taking pictures, watching the perfect bride walk toward her perfect groom. But I knew something they didn't. This wasn't going to be the wedding they expected. I reached the altar. My father kissed my cheek and handed me over to Marcus. Marcus took my hands, his eyes full of relief, full of hope. The officiant smiled at the crowd. "Please be seated." Everyone sat down. "Dearly beloved," the officiant began, "we are gathered here today to witness the union of Jennifer and Marcus." I barely heard the words. My heart was pounding. My hands were steady. My mind was clear. The officiant went through the vows, the traditional words, the promises, the commitments, and then he said the words I'd been waiting for. At this time, the maid of honor, Tasha, will come forward to give a speech. The crowd smiled. A few people clapped lightly. Tasha's face went white. She looked at me, panic in her eyes. I smiled at her. A calm, sweet smile. "Go ahead, Tasha," I said softly. "Everyone's waiting." She stood there frozen for a moment. And then slowly, she stepped forward to the microphone that had been set up beside the altar. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the paper with her speech on it. She cleared her throat. Her voice cracked. Hi everyone," she began. The crowd smiled, waiting. And that's when I gave the signal. I nodded to the AV guy at the back of the venue. He pressed play, and on the massive screen behind the altar, the screen that was supposed to show our slideshow of happy memories, a video started playing. The crowd gasped. Marcus turned around. Tasha dropped the microphone, because on that screen, for all 500 guests to see, was the security footage I'd taken from Marcus's apartment building. Footage of Tasha walking into his building at 8:47 p.m. on that Thursday night. Footage of her coming out 3 hours later, crying, wearing my wedding dress. And then the real bombshell. Text messages, screenshots, every single conversation between Marcus and Tasha for the past 3 months. "I can't stop thinking about you." "When is Jen leaving town again?" "She has no idea." "I love you." The crowd was dead silent. People started pulling out their phones, gasping, whispering. Marcus turned to me, his face white as a sheet. "Jen, what are you—" I stepped up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, my voice calm and clear, "I want to thank you all for coming today. Unfortunately, there will be no wedding." The silence in that room was deafening. 500 people. Not a single sound, just eyes. Wide, shocked eyes staring at the screen, then at me, then at Marcus, then at Tasha. Tasha had collapsed onto the ground, her hands covering her face, sobbing so loud you could hear it echoing through the vineyard. Marcus stood there frozen, his mouth open, his face drained of all color. He looked like he was about to pass out. I took the microphone from the stand and walked to the center of the altar, right in front of everyone. "I know this isn't what anyone expected today," I said, my voice steady, clear, powerful. "Trust me. It's not what I expected either when I got engaged to the man I thought was the love of my life." My mom stood up from her seat in the front row, her hand over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. My dad's jaw was clenched, his fists balled up at his sides. Marcus's mother looked like she was about to faint. His father was staring at him with pure disgust. I continued. "1 week ago, I went to my fiancé's apartment to surprise him, to relax with him before our big day. But when I got there, I found him with someone else." The crowd gasped again. Whispers erupted. "And not just anyone," I said, turning to look directly at Tasha, who was still on the ground shaking. "My best friend of 10 years. My maid of honor. The woman who helped me plan this entire wedding. The woman I trusted more than anyone." Tasha let out a wail. One of the other bridesmaids stepped back from her, horrified. Marcus finally found his voice. "Jen, please!" "Don't," I said sharply, cutting him off. "You had your chance to speak. For 3 months, actually. Every time you told me you were working late. Every time you said you were at the gym. Every time you kissed me. Good night and told me you loved me. While you were texting her behind my back." The screen behind me cycled through more messages. More evidence, dates, times, pictures. One picture showed them at a hotel. Another at a restaurant. Another in his car. People in the audience were pulling out their phones, recording everything. This was going to be all over social media within the hour. And I wanted it to be. "I could have called off this wedding," I said, my voice getting stronger. "I could have sent out a mass text and canceled everything. But I didn't. You know why? The crowd was silent, hanging on my every word, because I wanted you all to see it. I wanted you all to know exactly who these two people are. I wanted their families to see it, their friends to see it, everyone who thought we were the perfect couple to see the truth. Marcus took a step toward me. Jen, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, can we just... Sorry? I repeated, laughing bitterly. You're sorry? You spent 3 months sleeping with my best friend and planning a future with me at the same time, and you're sorry? His eyes filled with tears. It was a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. I love you. I want to marry you. Please, just give me another chance. You don't love me, I said coldly. If you loved me, you would have been honest. You would have told me the truth. You would have had the decency to break up with me before you destroyed me. I turned to face Tasha, who was still on the ground, her bridesmaid dress covered in dirt, her makeup running down her face. And you? I said, my voice dropping to ice. You were my best friend. I told you everything. My fears, my insecurities, my dreams. And the entire time, you were sleeping with the man I was supposed to marry. Tasha lifted her head, her face red and swollen. Jen, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I didn't mean for it to... You didn't mean for it to what? I snapped. You didn't mean for it to last 3 months? You didn't mean to put on my wedding dress in his bedroom? You didn't mean to lie to my face every single day? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. She just sat there sobbing, broken. I turned back to the crowd. I spent the last 6 days pretending everything was fine, smiling, planning, going, to fittings, rehearsals, acting, like the happy bride. And you know what the hardest part was? The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The hardest part was realizing that neither of them thought I was smart enough to figure it out. They thought I was stupid, naive, that I'd just keep smiling and planning my perfect wedding while they laughed behind my back. My voice cracked just a little bit, but I steadied myself. But I did figure it out, and I made a choice. I could have fallen apart. I could have cried and begged and asked them why. But instead, I decided to take my power back. I looked directly at Marcus. You wanted a wedding? You got one. 500 guests, a vineyard, an open bar, a live band, everything you wanted. Then I looked at Tasha. And you wanted to be my maid of honor. Well, here you are, standing beside me on my wedding day, just like you always dreamed. I turned back to the microphone and addressed the entire crowd. So now I want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who came here today. Thank you for witnessing this. Thank you for being here to see the truth. Because now you all know exactly who Marcus and Tasha really are. I set the microphone down on the altar and turned to walk away. But then Marcus grabbed my arm. Jen, wait, please don't do this. Don't throw away 4 years because of one mistake. I love you. I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you, please. I looked down at his hand on my arm. Then I looked up at his face. The face I used to love. The face I used to trust. Let go of me, I said quietly. Please, he begged, tears streaming down his face. Please, baby, I'm begging you. And that's when my father appeared beside us. He ripped Marcus's hand off my arm and stepped between us, his face red with rage. Don't you ever touch my daughter again, he said, his voice low and deadly. Marcus stepped back, his hands up. Sir, Get out, my father said. Get out of here before I do something I'll regret. Marcus looked at me one more time, desperate, pleading. I said nothing. He turned and walked down the aisle. Every single person in that room watched him leave. Some were shaking their heads. Some were whispering. Some were glaring at him with pure disgust. And then he was gone. I turned to Tasha, who was still on the ground. You too, I said. Get out. She struggled to her feet, her legs shaking so badly she could barely stand. She looked at me, her face destroyed, her voice barely a whisper. I'm so sorry, Jen. I'm so sorry. I don't care, I said flatly. She stumbled down the aisle, past all the guests, past people she knew, past Marcus's family who were glaring at her like she was the devil herself. And then she was gone too. The venue was still silent. Everyone was still staring at me, waiting to see what I would do next. I picked up the microphone one more time. "The ceremony is over," I said, my voice calm. "But the reception is not. There's food. There's an open bar. There's a band. So if you want to stay, stay, eat, drink, dance, celebrate the fact that—" I just dodged the biggest bullet of my life. A few people laughed nervously. Then a few more. And then, from the back of the venue, someone started clapping. Then someone else. Then someone else. And before I knew it, the entire room was on their feet, applauding. My mom rushed up to the altar and wrapped me in her arms, sobbing. My baby, my strong, beautiful baby. My dad hugged me next, kissing the top of my head. "I'm so proud of you." My bridesmaids surrounded me, crying, telling me how brave I was, how strong, how amazing. And for the first time in a week, I let myself cry. Not because I was sad, but because I was free. After the applause died down, people started moving. Some headed straight to the bar. Others gathered in small groups, whispering, looking at their phones, replaying what they'd just witnessed. I stood there at the altar in my wedding dress, surrounded by my family and friends, and I realized something. I wasn't broken. I wasn't destroyed. I was standing. My cousin Brianna came up to me, her eyes red from crying. "Jen, oh my God, I can't believe— we all thought you and Marcus were perfect. How did you keep it together this whole week?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "I just knew I couldn't let them get away with it. I couldn't let them make me look like a fool." Ashley, my college roommate, shook her head in disbelief. "Girl, you are the coldest, most savage woman I have ever met in my life." That was legendary. Literally legendary. Marcus's sister came up to me, tears streaming down her face. "Jen, I am so sorry. I had no idea. If I had known what my brother was doing, I would have told you immediately." "I swear." "I know," I said, squeezing her hand. "This isn't your fault." "He's a coward," she said, her voice shaking with anger. "And I'm ashamed to call him my brother right now." My mom pulled me aside, her hands cupping my face. "Baby, are you okay? Really okay?" "I am, Mama," I said. And I meant it. "What do you want to do now?" she asked. "Do you want to leave? We can pack up and go home. You don't have to stay here." I looked around the venue, at the flowers, the lights, the tables set with expensive china and crystal glasses, the band setting up on the stage, the cake, a massive 5-tier masterpiece that cost more than some people's cars. "No," I said firmly. "I paid for all of this. I planned all of this. I'm not leaving." My mom smiled through her tears. "That's my girl." I turned to the wedding coordinator, who was standing nearby looking absolutely shell-shocked. "Is the food ready?" I asked. She blinked. Yes. The caterers are ready to serve whenever you are." "Good," I said. "Let's eat." And just like that, my wedding reception became the wildest party I'd ever been to. People stayed. Almost everyone stayed, because honestly, how could they leave? This was the most dramatic thing any of them had ever witnessed in real life. The band started playing. The bar was packed. People were eating, drinking, laughing, coming up to me every 5 minutes to tell me how strong I was, how brave, how incredible. My dad gave a speech. He stood up at the head table with a microphone and a glass of champagne and said, "Today was supposed to be the day I gave my daughter away to a man I thought was worthy of her. Turns out he wasn't. But you know what? My daughter doesn't need a man to complete her. She's already complete. She's already perfect. And any man who can't see that doesn't deserve her." The room erupted in applause. Then my mom stood up. "I raised my daughter to be kind, to be forgiving, to give people second chances, but I also raised her to know her worth. And today, she showed everyone in this room exactly what that looks like. I have never been more proud." More applause. More tears. Even some of Marcus's family came up to apologize. His aunt, his uncle, his cousins. They all said the same thing. "We had no idea. We're so sorry. He's an idiot." I smiled and thanked them and told them it wasn't their fault. Around 7 p.m., I was standing by the bar, holding a glass of champagne when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Marcus. "Jen, please. Can we talk? I'm outside. Just 5 minutes, please." I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I typed back, "No." 3 dots appeared. He was typing. "I know I don't deserve it, but I'm begging you. Just let me explain." I almost laughed. Explain? What was there to explain? I'd seen everything. The texts, the pictures, the lies. There's nothing to explain, Marcus. It's over. Please. I love you. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. But I can't lose you. I can't. I took a sip of my champagne and typed one last message. You already did. Then I blocked his number. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Tasha. "Jen, I know you hate me. I know you never want to see me again. But please, just let me say this. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant for any of this to happen. I hate myself. I hate what I did. And I'm so sorry." I read the message. Then I deleted it. And blocked her number too. I didn't owe either of them anything. Not forgiveness. Not closure. Not a conversation. Nothing. They made their choices. Now they had to live with the consequences. Around 9 p.m., the dance floor was packed. People were drunk, dancing, singing along to the band. My dad pulled me onto the dance floor for a father-daughter dance, and I cried in his arms while everyone watched. "You're going to be okay, sweetheart," he whispered in my ear. "Better than okay. You're going to be amazing." "I know, Daddy," I said. And I did know. Because for the first time in a week, I felt like myself again. At 10 p.m., they brought out the cake. The massive, beautiful, 5-tier cake that was supposed to be cut by me and Marcus together. The coordinator looked at me nervously. Do you still want to cut the cake?" I smiled, absolutely. I walked up to the cake with a knife, and the entire room gathered around to watch. "This cake," I announced, holding up the knife, "was supposed to symbolize the sweet beginning of a marriage. But since there is no marriage, I'm declaring this the sweet beginning of my new life. A life without liars, without cheaters, without people who don't deserve me." The room cheered. And then I cut into that cake, and everyone ate it. And it was the best cake I'd ever tasted. By midnight, people started leaving. They hugged me, kissed my cheeks, told me to stay strong, told me I was their hero. And slowly, the venue emptied out. By 1 a.m., it was just me, my parents, and a few close friends sitting at a table, exhausted, laughing about the insanity of the day. "I can't believe you actually did that," Ashley said, shaking her head. "I mean, I was there. I watched it happen. And I still can't believe it." "I can," my mom said, squeezing my hand. "My daughter is a force of nature." I smiled. I just couldn't let them win. "They didn't win," my dad said firmly. "You did." And he was right. I went home that night, took off my wedding dress, and hung it in my closet. I washed off my makeup, climbed into bed, and for the first time in a week, I slept peacefully. But the story didn't end there, because the fallout from that wedding, it was just beginning. The next morning, I woke up to my phone exploding. I'm talking hundreds of notifications. Text messages, missed calls, Instagram DMs, Facebook messages, even emails. I sat up in bed, rubbed my eyes, and opened my phone. The first thing I saw was a video. My wedding. The moment the screen lit up with Marcus and Tasha's messages. The moment I took the microphone and exposed everything. It had gone viral. I'm not talking a few thousand views. I'm talking millions. Someone had recorded the whole thing and posted it on TikTok. Then Twitter. Then Instagram. Then Facebook. It was everywhere. The comments were insane. "This is the most savage thing I've ever seen in my life. She is a queen. An absolute queen. I would have done the same thing. Good for her. The way she stayed calm the entire time? Iconic. Marcus and Tasha are getting dragged in every group chat right now." But there were also mean comments. Cruel ones. Why didn't she just leave? Why make a scene? She's petty. She should have handled this privately. This is embarrassing for everyone involved. I didn't care about the negative comments. Because for every one person criticizing me, there were 100 people supporting me. I scrolled through my texts. Messages from old high school friends I hadn't talked to in years. Cousins I barely knew. Co-workers. Even people I didn't recognize. OMG, Jen, I saw the video. Are you okay? You are my hero. Can I share your story? This needs to be seen by everyone. Girl, you deserve better. Marcus is trash. My mom called me around 9 a.m. Jen, have you seen the internet? She asked, her voice a mix of concern and pride. I've seen it, I said. People are talking about you everywhere. The video has millions of views. Are you okay with that? I thought about it for a moment. Was I okay with millions of strangers watching the worst day of my life? Yeah, I said finally. I am. Because now everyone knows the truth. Marcus and Tasha can't spin this. They can't make me look like the bad guy. The evidence is out there for everyone to see. You're right, my mom said. But baby, be prepared. This might get messy. She had no idea how right she was. By noon, the messages from Marcus started coming. Not from his phone, I'd blocked that. But from other numbers. His friends' phones, his sister's phone, even his mother's phone. Jen, this is Marcus. Please talk to me. The video is everywhere. My job is calling me. My family is calling me. Please, just answer. Jen, it's Marcus again. I'm begging you. Please take down the video. This is ruining my life. Jen, you've made your point. Everyone knows what I did. But please, this has gone too far. People are threatening me, please. I read every message, and I didn't respond to a single one. Then Tasha started reaching out. Same thing. Different numbers. Jen, please. I lost my job. My boss saw the video and fired me. Please, I'm begging you. Make it stop. Jen, my family won't talk to me. My mom kicked me out. I have nowhere to go, please. Jen, people are sending me death threats. This is too much. Please, just say something, anything. Part of me felt a twinge of guilt. A tiny part. But then I remembered them in that bedroom. Tasha in my wedding dress. Marcus's hands on her. The 3 months of lies. And the guilt disappeared. Around 2 p.m., I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Hello? Hi, is this Jennifer? Yes, who's this? My name is Rachel Kim. I'm a producer for a morning talk show. We'd love to have you on to share your story. I blinked. A talk show? Yes. Your story has resonated with so many people. We think it's important and powerful, and we'd love to give you a platform to tell it in your own words. I sat down on my couch, processing what she was saying. I don't know. I need to think about it. Of course. Take your time. But just so you know, we've had several other shows reach out to Marcus and Tasha as well. If you want to control your narrative, now is the time. That got my attention. Marcus and Tasha were trying to do damage control. Trying to tell their side of the story. I'll think about it, I said. Can I call you back? Absolutely. Here's my number. She gave me her contact info and we hung up. I sat there for a long moment, staring at my phone. This wasn't just about me and Marcus and Tasha anymore. This was bigger. This was about every woman who'd ever been cheated on, lied to, betrayed by people they trusted. And maybe, just maybe, I could use this moment to say something that mattered. I called Rachel back. I'll do it, I said. 3 days later, I was sitting in a studio in New York City. Full makeup, professional lighting, cameras pointed at me, about to go live on national television. The host, a woman named Diana Harper, sat across from me, smiling warmly. Are you nervous? She asked. Terrified, I admitted. Don't be. You're going to do great. Just tell the truth. That's all people want to hear. The producer counted down. We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Diana turned to the camera, her voice smooth and professional. Good morning, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. Her story has captivated millions of people around the world. Jennifer Williams is here to share her side of what happened at her wedding, a wedding that didn't happen. Jennifer, thank you for being here. Thank you for having me, I said, my voice steady. So, let's start from the beginning. You were 1 week away from marrying the man you thought was the love of your life. What happened? I took a deep breath. I found out he was having an affair. With my best friend. The audience gasped. Even though they'd probably all seen the video, hearing me say it out loud made it real. Diana leaned forward. And instead of calling off the wedding, you went through with it. Why? Because I wanted the truth to come out, I said simply. I wanted everyone who thought we were the perfect couple to know what was really happening. I wanted them to see who Marcus and Tasha really were. Some people have criticized you for that, Diana said gently. They've said you should have handled it privately. What do you say to them? I looked directly into the camera. I say that women are always expected to handle things quietly. To forgive, to move on, to not make a scene, but why? Why should I protect the people who betrayed me? Why should I be quiet while they get to walk away with their reputations intact? The audience erupted in applause. Diana smiled. You make a very good point. Now, I understand that Marcus has reached out to you multiple times since the wedding. Has he apologized? He has, I said. Many times. And have you forgiven him? I paused. Then I shook my head. No, and I don't plan to. Why not? Because forgiveness isn't something you owe someone just because they apologize. Forgiveness is something you give when you're ready. And I'm not ready. Maybe I never will be. And that's okay. The audience applauded again, louder this time. Diana nodded. What about Tasha? Have you heard from her? Yes, she's lost her job. Her family has disowned her. She's been getting threats online. And honestly, I don't feel bad about it. Some people in the audience gasped. Others nodded in agreement. That might sound harsh, I continued, but she made a choice. She chose to betray me. She chose to sleep with my fiancé for 3 months while helping me plan my wedding. Those are consequences of her actions, not mine. Diana leaned back in her chair. Jennifer, what do you want people to take away from your story? I thought about it for a moment. I want people to know that it's okay to stand up for yourself. It's okay to demand respect. It's okay to walk away from people who don't value you. And it's okay to do it loudly. You don't have to shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. The audience stood up. A standing ovation? Diana smiled at me, her eyes warm. Jennifer Williams, thank you so much for sharing your story. You are an inspiration. When the cameras stopped rolling, I felt lighter, like I'd finally said everything I needed to say. But when I checked my phone after the interview, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A message from an unknown number. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. I stared at the message, my heart pounding in my chest. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. My hands started shaking. I looked around the green room where I was sitting, suddenly feeling very exposed, very vulnerable. Who sent this? Marcus? Tasha? Some random internet troll? I screenshot the message and immediately called my dad. Daddy, I just got a threatening text. What? His voice went from calm to alarmed in a second. What did it say? I read it to him. Baby, you need to go to the police. Right now. That's a threat. I don't even know who sent it. It's from an unknown number. Doesn't matter. You need to file a report. This isn't a joke, Jen. You're all over the news. There are crazy people out there. He was right. I knew he was right. I called the producer, Rachel, and told her what happened. Within 20 minutes, the studio had security escorting me to my hotel. They took the threat seriously. They advised me to report it and to be careful about where I stayed, where I went, who I talked to. I spent that night in a hotel room in New York, unable to sleep, jumping at every sound, checking my phone every 5 minutes. More messages came, different numbers, all saying similar things. You ruined 2 people's lives. Karma is coming for you. You're a vindictive bitch. You deserve everything that's coming. Watch your back. I blocked every number, but they kept coming. It was like a flood I couldn't stop. The next morning, I flew back to Atlanta. My dad picked me up from the airport, and the first thing he did was hug me so tight I could barely breathe. You're staying with us, he said. I don't care what you say. You're not going back to your apartment alone. I didn't argue. For the next week, I stayed at my parents' house. My mom cooked all my favorite meals. My dad installed extra locks on the doors and a security camera outside. They treated me like I was fragile, like I might break at any moment. But I wasn't breaking. I was just processing. The interview aired 2 days after I got back home. And just like the wedding video, it went viral. Clips of me saying, "Forgiveness isn't something you owe someone," were all over social media. Memes were made. Think pieces were written. Some people loved me, called me a feminist icon, a role model, a queen. Others hated me, called me bitter, vindictive, a narcissist who destroyed two people for attention. I tried not to read the comments, but it was impossible. They were everywhere. Then, 5 days after the interview, I got a call from a lawyer. Ms. Williams, my name is David Brennan. I represent Marcus Johnson. I'm calling to inform you that my client is pursuing legal action against you for defamation and emotional distress. My stomach dropped. What? The video you distributed at your wedding, as well as the statements you made on national television, have caused significant harm to my client's reputation and mental health. We are prepared to file a lawsuit unless you issue a public apology and agree to remove all content related to my client from the internet. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you serious right now? I said, my voice rising. He cheated on me with my best friend for 3 months. I didn't lie about anything. I showed the truth. Ms. Williams, the manner in which you chose to reveal this information was public, humiliating, and intentionally harmful. That constitutes emotional distress. He's suing me for emotional distress? I almost laughed. He destroyed me. He lied to me for months. And now he's playing the victim? My client is willing to drop the lawsuit if you comply with our requests. Otherwise, we will proceed. I hung up on him. My hands were shaking. I immediately called my own lawyer, a woman named Patricia, Chen, who'd helped me with some contract stuff a few years ago. Patricia, I need help. Marcus is suing me. She listened to everything. The wedding, the video, the interview, the lawsuit threat. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Jen, he doesn't have a case, she said finally. Everything you showed was true. You have evidence. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. And as for emotional distress, he'd have to prove that your actions were extreme and outrageous. Considering he's the one who cheated, that's going to be a hard sell. So he's just trying to scare me? Exactly. He wants you to back down, to apologize, to make him look better. Don't do it. I won't, I said firmly. Good. If he actually files the lawsuit, we'll fight it, and we'll win. I felt a little better after talking to Patricia, but the stress was still there. The constant messages, the threats, the lawsuit. It was all piling up. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Tasha showed up at my parents' house. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was sitting on the back porch with my mom, drinking lemonade, trying to have a normal day. The doorbell rang. My dad answered it. I heard his voice loud and angry. You have some nerve showing up here. I stood up. My mom grabbed my arm. Jen, don't. But I pulled away and walked to the front door. There she was, Tasha, standing on my parents' doorstep. She looked awful. Her hair was a mess. Her face was pale. Her eyes were red and swollen like she'd been crying for days. She'd lost weight. She was wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Jen, she said, her voice barely a whisper, please, I need to talk to you. No, I said. Get off my property. Please, she begged, tears streaming down her face. Just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. My dad stepped between us. You heard her. Leave, now. I'm not leaving until she hears me out, Tasha said, her voice breaking. I know I don't deserve it. I know I hurt her. But please, Jen, please just let me say what I need to say. I looked at her. This woman who used to be my best friend, who I'd laughed with, cried with, shared everything with, and I felt nothing. Fine, I said. 5 minutes. But not here. Out front, and my dad stays with me. Tasha nodded quickly, desperately. We walked out to the front yard. My dad stood beside me, his arms crossed, his jaw clenched. Talk, I said coldly. Tasha took a shaky breath. I know you hate me. I know I ruined everything. I know I'm the worst person in the world. But Jen, you have to understand. I never meant for this to happen. You never meant for what to happen? I snapped. You never meant to sleep with my fiancé? You never meant to lie to me for 3 months? What exactly didn't you mean to do, Tasha? I didn't mean to fall for him, she said, her voice cracking. It just happened. We were working on your bridal shower together, and we started talking. And then we started texting and then— Stop, I said, holding up my hand. I don't want to hear this. But you need to understand— I don't need to understand anything, I said, my voice rising. You made a choice. Every single day for 3 months, you made the choice to betray me. Don't stand here and act like it just happened. Like you had no control. Tasha started sobbing. I lost everything, Jen, my job, my family, my friends. Everyone hates me. I can't go anywhere without people recognizing me from the video. I get death threats every day. I had to delete all my social media. I can't even leave my apartment without someone yelling at me. And you think I care? I said flatly. She looked at me shocked. Jen, you think I care that you're suffering? You think I'm supposed to feel bad for you? After what you did to me? I'm not asking you to feel bad for me, she said desperately. I'm asking you to forgive me. Please, Jen, I'm begging you. I can't live like this. I can't handle everyone hating me. Please just tell people that you forgive me. Just make a statement. Something. Anything, please. I stared at her for a long moment. And then I laughed. A cold, bitter laugh. You want me to fix this for you? You want me to make a statement so people stop hating you? After you destroyed my life? I didn't destroy your life. Yes, you did, I shouted. You destroyed my life. You took the person I trusted most in the world and you stabbed me in the back. You smiled in my face while you were sleeping with my fiancé. You helped me plan my wedding while you were planning how to steal my husband. Tasha flinched like I'd hit her. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I don't accept your apology, I said coldly. And I'm not helping you. You made your bed, Tasha. Now lie in it. She stood there sobbing, broken. Get off my property, I said. And don't ever come back. My dad stepped forward. You heard her. Leave. Tasha looked at me one more time, desperation in her eyes. And then she turned and walked away. I watched her get into her car and drive off. And I felt absolutely nothing. 2 weeks passed after Tasha showed up at my parents' house. 2 weeks of trying to get back to some kind of normal life. But normal didn't exist anymore. Everywhere I went, people recognized me. At the grocery store, at the gas station, at the coffee shop. They'd stare, whisper. Some would come up to me and tell me I was their hero. Others would shake their heads in disgust and walk away. I became that girl from the wedding video. My job, I worked as a marketing manager for a mid-sized tech company, had been understanding at first. They gave me 2 weeks off to deal with everything. But when I came back, things were different. My coworkers treated me like I was made of glass. They'd whisper when I walked by. Conversations would stop when I entered a room. My boss called me into his office 3 days after I returned. Jen, we need to talk, he said, closing the door behind me. I sat down, already knowing what was coming. The company has received a lot of attention because of your situation, he said carefully. And while we support you personally, we have to think about the business. Some of our clients have expressed concerns about the publicity. Concerns? I repeated. They feel that the association with such a controversial situation might not align with their brand values. I stared at him. Are you firing me? No, he said quickly. But we are asking if you'd consider taking an extended leave of absence. Paid, of course. Just until things die down. Things die down? I said, my voice cold. You mean until people forget that I exposed my cheating fiancé? He shifted uncomfortably. Jen, I'm trying to help you here. No, you're not, I said, standing up. You're trying to protect the company. You're asking me to disappear because my presence is inconvenient. That's not— Save it, I said. I'll make this easy for you. I quit. His eyes widened. Jen, wait! But I was already walking out. I cleaned out my desk, ignored the stares from my coworkers, and walked out of that building with my head held high. I was officially unemployed. That night, I sat in my childhood bedroom at my parents' house. I still hadn't moved back to my apartment, and I scrolled through my phone. Marcus's lawsuit threat had gone away after Patricia sent him a strongly worded letter. Apparently, his lawyer realized he didn't have a case and advised him to drop it. But the damage was done. My life had been turned upside down. I was about to put my phone down and try to sleep when I got a DM on Instagram. It was from a woman named Sarah Mitchell. I didn't recognize the name, but her profile looked real. Not a troll account. The message said, "Hi, Jennifer. I saw your story and I need to talk to you. It's about Marcus. Please, it's important." I hesitated. I'd gotten hundreds of messages like this. People claiming to have information. People wanting to insert themselves into the drama. I'd learned to ignore most of them. But something about this one felt different. I clicked on her profile. She was around my age. Pretty, blonde. She lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her photos showed her with friends, at restaurants, living a normal life. I typed back, "Who are you?" 3 dots appeared immediately. She was typing. "My name is Sarah. I dated Marcus 3 years ago. We were together for 2 years. And he cheated on me too." My heart stopped. "With who?" I typed. "A girl he worked with. I found out the same way you did. I saw the messages. I confronted him. He cried, begged for forgiveness, said it was a mistake. I forgave him. And then 6 months later, he did it again, with someone else." I felt sick. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because when I saw your video, I realized he's still doing it. He's still the same person. And I want you to know that what happened to you wasn't your fault. It's who he is. He's a serial cheater. And he's good at hiding it." I sat there staring at the screen, my mind racing. Marcus had cheated before. Multiple times. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This wasn't him falling for Tasha. This was a pattern. "Do you have proof?" I typed. "I have screenshots. Text messages, photos, everything. I saved it all when I finally left him." "Can you send them to me?" "Yes, but Jen, I need to warn you. If you go public with this, it's going to get worse for him. A lot worse. Are you ready for that?" I didn't even hesitate. "Send them." Within 10 minutes, my phone was flooded with screenshots. Messages between Marcus and at least 3 different women over the span of 2 years. Messages that were identical to the ones he'd sent Tasha. "You make me feel alive. I can't stop thinking about you. She doesn't understand me like you do." He'd use the same lines, the same manipulation, over and over again. Sarah sent me photos too. Marcus with another woman at a bar. Marcus with a different woman at a hotel. Marcus living a completely double life. And then she sent me one more message. "There's something else you should know. I wasn't the only one. After I left him, I found 2 other women he'd dated before me. He did the same thing to them. I connected with them online. We all have similar stories. He's done this to at least 5 women that we know of. Maybe more. 5 women. Maybe more." I felt rage building in my chest. Not just for me, but for Sarah, for those other women. For every woman Marcus had lied to, manipulated, and betrayed. "Would you be willing to talk about this publicly?" I asked Sarah. "I've been thinking about it ever since I saw your video. If you're willing to do it, I'm in. And I can reach out to the other women too. We can all come forward together." I stared at her message for a long moment. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about exposing the truth. About making sure no other woman fell for Marcus's lies. "Let's do it," I typed. Over the next 3 days, I connected with Sarah and 2 other women Marcus had dated. Their names were Rachel and Amanda. We video called, shared our stories, cried together, and planned. All of us had been manipulated by the same man. All of us had been told we were the one. All of us had been cheated on. And all of us were ready to speak up. I reached out to the producer from the talk show, Rachel Kim. "I have something bigger," I told her. "There are 4 of us. 4 women Marcus cheated on. We want to tell our stories together." She didn't even hesitate. "When can you be in New York?" 3 days later, the 4 of us sat on a stage together. Me, Sarah, Rachel, and Amanda. 4 women who didn't know each other until Marcus Johnson brought us together. The host, Diana Harper, introduced us to the audience. "Today, we have a very important conversation. 4 women who were all in relationships with the same man at different times. 4 women who were all lied to, cheated on, and manipulated. And today, they're here to share their stories." The audience was silent. Diana turned to Sarah first. "Sarah, you dated Marcus 3 years ago. Can you tell us what happened?" Sarah took a deep breath. "We met at a friend's party. He was charming, successful, attentive. Everything I thought I wanted. We dated for 2 years, and during that entire time, he was seeing at least 2 other women. The audience gasped. How did you find out? Diana asked. The same way Jennifer did. I saw the messages. When I confronted him, he cried. He begged. He said it would never happen again. I believed him, and 6 months later, I found out he was doing it again. Diana turned to Rachel. Rachel, you dated him before Sarah. What was your experience? Rachel nodded, her voice steady. He told me I was the love of his life. He talked about marriage, kids, our future. But the whole time, he was sleeping with his coworker. When I found out, he blamed me. Said I wasn't giving him enough attention. That I pushed him away. I actually believed him. I thought it was my fault. Amanda spoke next. He did the same thing to me. Made me feel like I was crazy for questioning him. Like I was insecure and paranoid. But I wasn't crazy. I was right. He was lying the entire time. And then it was my turn. Marcus proposed to me on a beach in the Bahamas, I said, my voice calm. He spent 4 years building a life with me, planning a future. And the entire time he was seeing my best friend. He made me believe I was the problem. That I wasn't fun enough, attractive enough, interesting enough. But the problem was never me. The problem was him. Diana looked at the camera. 4 women, 4 similar stories, all involving the same man. Ladies, why did you decide to come forward together? I spoke up. Because we want other women to know that this isn't normal. This isn't just a mistake or a one-time thing. This is a pattern. Marcus is a manipulator, a liar, and if we don't speak up, he'll just do this to someone else. The audience erupted in applause. Diana leaned forward. Have any of you heard from Marcus since Jennifer's wedding video went viral? He sent me a message, Sarah said, asking me not to say anything. He said I'd ruin his life. Same, Rachel said. He threatened to sue me if I went public. He told me he'd changed, Amanda added. That he was sorry for what he did to me. That he deserved a second chance. I shook my head. He hasn't changed. He's just gotten better at lying. The interview went on for another 30 minutes. We shared more details, more stories, more evidence, and by the time it was over, Marcus Johnson wasn't just the guy who got caught cheating. He was a serial manipulator whose pattern of behavior was now public record. When we walked off that stage, the 4 of us hugged. We'd gone from strangers to sisters in just a few days. Thank you, Sarah said to me, tears in her eyes. Thank you for having the courage to do this first. I never would have spoken up if you hadn't. We did this together, I said. And now he can't hurt anyone else. But I was wrong, because the next day I got a message that changed everything. The message came at 11 p.m. I was lying in bed, scrolling through the reactions to the interview. It had aired that afternoon and was already trending on every social media platform. Hashtag Marcus Johnson us over party was the #1 hashtag on Twitter. People were posting screenshots, memes, commentary. His face was everywhere, and not in a good way. Then my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You don't know the whole story. I sat up in bed. My heart started racing. Another threat? But then another message came through. My name is Lisa. I work with Marcus at his company. I need to talk to you. It's about Tasha. I stared at the screen. About Tasha? What about her? I typed back. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, a message came through. Can we talk on the phone? This isn't something I can text. Every instinct told me not to engage, but curiosity got the better of me. Fine, call me. My phone rang 30 seconds later. Hello? I answered cautiously. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for answering. The voice was female, nervous, young, maybe mid-20s. Who are you? I asked. My name is Lisa Chen. I work at Marcus's company. I'm an assistant in his department. And I know something you need to hear. I'm listening. She took a deep breath. Tasha didn't just randomly fall for Marcus. He targeted her. I sat up straighter. What do you mean targeted her? I mean he planned it. I heard him talking about it with one of his coworkers about 4 months ago. They were at happy hour, and I was sitting at the next table. They didn't know I could hear them. My blood went cold. What did he say? He said his relationship with you was getting boring, that you were too focused on wedding planning and not paying enough attention to him. And then he said, she paused. He said he was going to have some fun with the hot bridesmaid. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. He said that? I whispered. Yes, and his friend laughed and said, which one? And Marcus said, the blonde, Tasha. She's been flirting with me for months. This is going to be easy. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. Are you saying Tasha was flirting with him first? That's what he said. He made it sound like she'd been interested in him for a while, and he was just going to take advantage of it. I closed my eyes, trying to process this. All this time, I thought Tasha was the villain, the seductress who stole my fiancé. But what if she was just another one of his victims? Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Lisa's voice got quieter. Because I saw your interview today. With the other women. And I realized that Marcus does this. He manipulates people. He plays games. And I think Tasha might have been manipulated too. But she made a choice, I said, my voice hard. She chose to sleep with him. She chose to lie to me for 3 months. I know, Lisa said. And I'm not saying what she did was okay, but I think you should know that Marcus orchestrated this. He saw an opportunity and he took it. Tasha wasn't some random woman he fell for. She was part of his plan. I sat there in silence, my mind spinning. Is there anything else? I asked. Yes, Lisa said. Marcus is planning something. I don't know what, but he's been on the phone with lawyers, publicists, crisis management people. He's trying to rebuild his image. And I think he's going to try to blame everything on Tasha. What do you mean? I overheard him yesterday. He was talking to someone and he said, Tasha seduced me. She came on to me. I was vulnerable because of wedding stress, and she took advantage of me. He's going to paint himself as the victim and her as the predator. Rage burned through me. Are you willing to go on record with this? I asked. Lisa hesitated. I could lose my job. I know, and I won't force you. But if you're willing to speak up, I'll protect you. I have a lawyer. We can do this the right way. She was quiet for a long moment. Let me think about it, she finally said. But Jennifer? Be careful. Marcus is dangerous. Not physically. But he knows how to destroy people, and he's going to come after you again. Let him, I said coldly. I'm not afraid of him anymore. We hung up. I sat there in bed, my phone in my hands, my mind racing. Marcus had planned this. He'd targeted Tasha, used her, manipulated her, and when everything blew up, he was going to throw her under the bus to save himself. Part of me wanted to let it happen. Tasha had betrayed me. She deserved whatever was coming to her. But another part of me, a part I didn't expect, felt something. I hadn't felt in weeks. Sympathy. Because if what Lisa said was true, then Tasha wasn't just a villain. She was another woman Marcus had manipulated and destroyed. The next morning, I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to Tasha's apartment. I hadn't been there since the night. I confronted her after finding her at Marcus's place, but I remembered the address. I parked outside her building and sat in my car for a long moment, trying to figure out what I was even doing there. Finally, I got out and walked to her door. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, louder this time. After a minute, I heard footsteps. The door cracked open, and Tasha's face appeared in the gap. When she saw me, her eyes went wide. Jen, she breathed. We need to talk, I said. She hesitated, then opened the door wider. I walked into her apartment and my heart sank. The place was a mess. Dirty dishes piled in the sink. Laundry all over the floor. The curtains were drawn, making the whole place dark and depressing. Tasha looked even worse than the last time I'd seen her. She'd lost more weight. Her hair was greasy and pulled back in a messy bun. She was wearing the same sweatpants and t-shirt from 2 weeks ago. Tasha, when's the last time you left this apartment? I asked. She shrugged, her eyes on the floor. I don't know. A week, maybe more. Have you eaten? She didn't answer. I sighed and walked into her kitchen. I opened her fridge. It was nearly empty. Just some old takeout containers and a half-empty carton of milk. Sit down, I said. She looked at me, confused. What? Sit down. I'm making you something to eat. Jen, you don't have to. Sit down. She sat. I found some eggs, bread, and butter. I made her scrambled eggs and toast. Nothing fancy, but it was food. I set the plate in front of her. She stared at it, tears forming in her eyes. Why are you doing this? I sat down across from her. Because I need to ask you something. And I need you to tell me the truth. She nodded, picking up a fork with shaking hands. When did it start with Marcus? I asked. The affair? How did it begin? Tasha took a bite of eggs, then set down her fork. It started about 4 months ago. We were planning your bridal shower together. He called me to go over some details, and we just started talking. About everything, life, work, his relationship with you. What did he say about me? She looked down. He said you were stressed, that you'd changed since the engagement, that you were so focused on the wedding that you didn't have time for him anymore. Classic manipulation, I thought. And then what? I asked. Then he started texting me. Just friendly stuff at first. Memes, jokes, asking how my day was. And then it got more personal. He started telling me things. About his feelings. About how lonely he felt. And she started crying. I started to feel bad for him. I thought I was helping him. Being a good friend. When did it turn physical? About 2 months ago. He invited me to meet him for coffee to talk about your bachelorette party. But when I got there, he said he needed someone to talk to. He seemed so sad, so vulnerable. And then he kissed me. She was sobbing now. I should have stopped it. I should have told you. But he said, she looked up at me, her face destroyed. He said you didn't love him anymore. That you were only marrying him because you'd already planned the wedding. That he was going to call it off anyway. I closed my eyes. Of course he did. Did you believe him? I asked quietly. Yes, she whispered. I'm so stupid. I believed him, and I thought maybe we could be together after he ended things with you. You thought you were saving him, I finished. She nodded, crying into her hands. I took a deep breath. Tasha, I need you to understand something. Marcus played you. He manipulated you. He saw that you cared about him, and he used that to get what he wanted. But I still did it, she said, her voice breaking. I still betrayed you. I still slept with him. I still lied to you for months. That's on me. You're right, I said. It is. And what you did was wrong. But Marcus isn't innocent. He targeted you, and now he's planning to throw you under the bus to save his own reputation. Her head snapped up. What? I told her everything Lisa had told me. About Marcus planning to seduce her. About him telling his coworker it would be easy. About him preparing to paint her as the predator who seduced him. By the time I finished, Tasha's face was white. He planned it? She whispered. The whole time? Yes. She stood up and walked to the window, her arms wrapped around herself. I'm such an idiot, she said. I thought he loved me. I thought we had something real. That's what he does, I said. He makes you feel special. He makes you think you're different. And then he destroys you. She turned to look at me, tears streaming down her face. Why are you telling me this? Why do you care? I stood up and walked toward the door. Because I'm done letting Marcus win, I said. And if you're willing to tell your side of the story, the truth about how he manipulated you, then maybe we can take him down together. She stared at me, shocked. Think about it, I said. If you want to do this, call me. And then I left. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was Tasha. I'll do it, she said, her voice shaky but determined. I'll tell the truth. About everything. Are you sure? I asked. Once you do this, there's no going back. Marcus will come after you harder than ever. I know, she said. But I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of letting him control the narrative. And I'm tired of hating myself. If telling the truth can help stop him from doing this to someone else, then I have to do it. Okay, I said. I'll set it up. 1 week later, Tasha and I sat side by side on a different talk show. This time it wasn't just about me. It was about both of us. The host, a compassionate woman named Monica Stevens, introduced the segment. Today we have 2 women who were both hurt by the same man. Jennifer Williams, whose wedding video went viral, And Tasha Reynolds, Jennifer's former best friend who had an affair with Jennifer's fiancé. They're here together to share the full story. Ladies, thank you for being here. The audience was silent, leaning forward, captivated. Monica turned to Tasha first. Tasha, you've been painted as the villain in this story, the woman who betrayed her best friend. But you're here today to share your side. Why? Tasha took a deep breath, her hands trembling in her lap. Because I want people to know the truth. What I did was wrong. I'm not denying that. I betrayed my best friend, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. But I also want people to know that I was manipulated. Marcus targeted me. He lied to me. He told me things about Jennifer that weren't true. He made me believe that their relationship was over and that he was going to end things with her. And you believed him? Monica asked gently. Yes, Tasha said, tears forming. I believed him because I trusted him. Because he seemed vulnerable and honest. I thought I was helping him. I thought... She paused, wiping her eyes. I thought we were going to be together. Monica turned to me. Jennifer, you're sitting here next to the woman who hurt you deeply. How do you feel about what she just said? I looked at Tasha, then back at Monica. I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. What Tasha did destroyed me. But after learning the truth about Marcus, about how he's done this to multiple women, about how he planned this, about how he manipulated her too, I realized something. Tasha isn't my enemy. Marcus is. The audience murmured in agreement. Does this mean you forgive her? Monica asked. I paused. Forgiveness is complicated. I'm not ready to say I forgive her completely, but I understand now that she was a victim too. Not in the same way I was, but a victim nonetheless. And I think it's important that we stop tearing each other apart and start holding the real villain accountable. Tasha turned to me, tears streaming down her face. Jen, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I don't deserve your kindness. But I want you to know that I am so sorry. Not just for what I did, but for how long it took me to understand what really happened. Marcus destroyed both of us, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to make this right. I nodded slowly. Then let's make it right together. Monica smiled. You two are incredibly brave for coming here today. What message do you want to send to other women who might be in similar situations? I spoke first. I want women to know that if something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your instincts. Don't let anyone make you feel crazy for asking questions or demanding honesty. And if someone betrays you, you don't owe them forgiveness. You owe yourself healing, Tasha added. And I want women to know that manipulation can happen to anyone. Smart women, strong women. It doesn't mean you're weak. Marcus made me believe things that weren't true, and I fell for it. If you're being lied to, if someone is playing on your emotions to get what they want, that's not love. That's control, and you deserve better. The audience stood up and applauded. Some were crying. Some were nodding. Some were recording on their phones. Monica looked at the camera. Marcus Johnson, if you're watching this, these women want you to know that your pattern of manipulation and deceit ends now. They're done being silent, and they're done letting you hurt people. The interview ended, and as Tasha and I walked off the stage together, she stopped and turned to me. Thank you, she said quietly, for giving me a chance, for not giving up on me even when I gave up on myself. Don't thank me yet, I said. We're not done. There's still work to do. I know, she said, but I'm ready. Over the next few months, things started to change. Marcus's company quietly let him go. They didn't make a public announcement, but word got out. He was toxic, unmarketable. No one wanted to be associated with him. Lisa, the woman who'd called me, eventually did come forward. She gave a statement to a journalist, and her story corroborated everything Tasha and I had said. The other women Marcus had dated, Sarah, Rachel, and Amanda, started a support group for women who'd been manipulated by narcissistic partners. It grew into something bigger than any of us expected. Hundreds of women joined, shared their stories, found healing. Tasha and I didn't become best friends again. That trust was broken, and some things can't be fully repaired. But we became something else. Allies, survivors, women who'd been through hell and came out stronger on the other side. As for me, I moved back into my apartment. I started a new job at a company that valued me. I went to therapy, I healed. And 6 months after that wedding that never happened, I woke up one morning and realized something. I was happy. Not because I'd gotten revenge. Not because Marcus's life had fallen apart. Not even because Tasha and I had made peace. I was happy because I'd taken my power back. I'd stood up for myself. I'd refused to be silenced. I'd turned my pain into purpose. And I'd learned the most important lesson of all. I didn't need a man to complete me. I didn't need a wedding to validate me. I didn't need anyone's approval to know my worth. I was enough, just as I was. And that was the best revenge of all. So if this story touched you, if it made you feel something, if it reminded you of your own strength, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. And I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me she deserves better. If you agree with the choice I made. Or comment justice for her. If you felt everything I went through, because every woman has a story. Every woman has a moment where she has to decide, stay silent or speak up. I chose to speak up, and I hope my story inspires you to do the same. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being part of this journey with me. Until next time.